Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this PowerX panel. We'll be discussing universities as engines of innovation. So let's start by setting a little bit the context of our discussion. As we all know, and especially lately, Lebanon is working hard on building a sustainable and knowledge-based economy through different actors. And if you want to look and focus more on universities as one of the main actors into this economy, I think we all agree that universities nowadays are playing a role bigger than their traditional role of teaching and research. They're evolving into innovation ecosystems with technology transfer offices or TTOs, incubators, innovation hubs, etc., working hard on bridging research and innovation to entrepreneurship. So this transformation, I think we agree as well, is not linear. It requires a lot of coordination, collaboration within the institution or the university itself between departments, faculties, and units, and with external stakeholders. What we're going to discuss today is how far have we come in this collaboration and really moving innovation from the academic, I would say, institution to the industries and different sectors. What models are working and what should be done to build a stronger and more collaborative innovation strategy on a national level in Lebanon. I'm thrilled to explore these questions with our distinguished panelists, Ms. Sfeir, Director at LEU Fouad Makhzoumi Innovation Center, Ms. Mai Awar Ammar, Director, Sponsored Programs and Technology Transfer at the American University of Beirut, Ms. Nathalie Bitar, Deputy Regional Director at Agence universitaire de la Francophonie, AUF, and Dr. Alain Osta, Director of Entrepreneurship Center, Pôle, at La Sagesse University. Thank you for joining us today. So to start off, let's explore how each university or organization is driving innovation from within, what structures and strategies you have adopted, and how you're connecting education and research with entrepreneurship. May, let's begin with you. Yes. So in a nutshell, can you tell us, can you discuss or really present the role of a TTO or technology transfer within a university? And in your opinion, in Lebanon's current context and economic situation, do you think that collaboration between TTOs and research funders is a luxury or a necessity?
Thank you. Thank you. First, let me admit something very, very important to all of you. It's always amazing stepping out of our offices, us in academia, and coming to tell our story and share this with you, a journey, in fact, that we had amidst all crises that are faced in our country over and over again. Now, since its inception in 1866, AUB, the institution from where I come, has always, like all other institutions, been faced with crises. Let's talk about, not to talk about poly-crises that we have faced in the past years. But what we had always made sure of was to never forget the mission behind which our institution was established for, and that of giving our graduates and community life and give it more abundantly. And in that, we keep this as our light or as our guide in the mission we serve inside our institution. And this is why back in 2009, we created the Technology Transfer Unit under the office at the time that was called Office of Grants and Contracts, and that is now called the Office of Research, that has expanded in mission. Now, in terms, just because we believe in the role of academia, of universities, in changing lives, we are there to have an impact and to transform our communities. This is why, when establishing the Technology Transfer Unit, we wanted to really link research that that out of research would stem out innovation, but not just any innovation. We wanted our research priorities linked to the local needs to have an impact and to really have a revenue stream. So what we really did, we raised awareness inside our institution on the importance of intellectual property protection. And I'm happy to have met today faculty members here present who were champions on this, Dr. Tony Ferrali and Dr. Muhammad Abyad, for example. Hello. So they were and still are champions who helped us disseminating, telling everyone how important intellectual property rights protection is. And in that, we definitely do not do what we really do with passion just because it's a luxury. It is definitely a necessity, keeping in mind how we want to change lives with impact. So that's it.
Thank you. Thank you for highlighting how academic innovation can change lives. So it's a big responsibility, I think. Annie, over to you. Can you tell us, please, how does the LAU Innovation Center support the commercialization of innovation, just like May mentioned before? And can you highlight the collaboration with external partners in making this mission succeed?
Thanks a lot, Elise. Well, innovation should not be only focused within an academic, let's say, hub location. Rather, it will always need the support and the cooperation of the different entities, be it within the university and outside. We always should leverage our core competencies, and we cannot admit that one institution or one part of the department can have it all. And that's why, once we leverage the different superpowers of the different entities within the university and outside of it, we will be able to leverage and make this exponential growth of economic power, be it through the innovation that comes from academia, pair with it the different aspects that comes from research, from the market need, the startup ideas that come from it. And the technology transfer mentioned earlier at LAU is a nascent project right now. At the LAU Innovation Center, we take the startups, we bring them with the ideas, we make them grow and nurture them. And then we give them the opportunity to go outside to the market. The TTO is a good bridge between what they learned, be it behind academic doors, and then they have to also leverage it with the research, the faculty's superpowers, if you want, and also adding to it this immense knowledge that comes from the IP experts, from the technology, and the engineers that are behind them.
Great, thank you, Annie. Great to hear how LAU is actively connecting ideas with market potential, as you mentioned. Let's broaden a little bit the lens with Nathalie from IEF. We know that IEF is active across many universities and countries. Can you share with us how the employability centers and pre-incubator programs that you work in help students and researchers transition from academia to real-world innovation?
Yes, of course, but I would like to begin by briefly introducing the Agence universitaire de la Francophonie. In fact, we are the largest network of universities in the world with more than 100 universities member all over the continents in more than 120 countries. And in the Middle East, the regional office is based in Beirut, and it covers 18 countries, and I'm happy to say that Université La Sagesse, LAU, and AUB are also members of AUF. And in its current strategy, in fact, AUF has developed a special focus on student entrepreneurship and employability, And that has led to the opening of more than 60 Francophone employability centers in the world, so Centre d'employabilité francophone. And in Lebanon, you have two centers, one in Beirut and one in Tripoli. The one in Beirut is located at Beirut Digital District, and the manager of the Centre d'employabilité is here with me today. And in this center, we offer training programs to help students develop their digital and their soft skills, and we give them all the tools to ensure a smooth transition between academia and the professional world. And we also developed a pre-incubation program. And this pre-incubation program is, we offer it to all the Lebanese students, and we implement it in partnership with Berytech. So we give them trainings, and we have a demo day, and we select the best startups, and they have the opportunity to go to France and stay in a university-based incubator, and this gives the students opportunities to develop their network and to meet international students, entrepreneurs. And if you want, I can give you an example. For example, there is a startup, Iolokis. I saw that it pitched yesterday in the LIRA program, and the startup was incubated at AUF, and it had the chance to go to France, and with all this coaching and help of AUF, they had the chance to pitch in an AI summit in Paris in front of Microsoft, McKinsey, etc.
All right, thank you, Nathalie. I'm proud to say as well that I've been part of IF competitions, and for students, it's really something big. So they start exploring really the entrepreneurial mindset from, let's say, early on. Thank you, Nathalie. Alain, to you, can you tell us how entrepreneurship centers like Pôle, the Entrepreneurship Center in La Sagesse University, is bridging the gap between students, research, external stakeholders, and industries? And what do you think, or what is the vision of Pôle Center on how you can foster entrepreneurial outcomes across academia and industry?
Thank you, Elise, for hosting us and for this event. In fact, before the historical crisis in Lebanon, most of the students were going more into the employment. So if I can say that one of the opportunities that the crisis gave us is they are realizing the importance of entrepreneurship. So at this moment, we realized that we need to create an entity as a center. So we've launched the center recently in September, but we were working a lot on discovering the entrepreneurial intentions with our students. So that was the part related to research. And we were confirming that they were there. They were working on developing their ideas. So once I'm discussing with my students, you know, the entrepreneurship, it was a course and still a course at the management department, but it's more than that. So we didn't have those dynamics between the faculties, now we have. And we truly believe that teams, they have to be one team member from the Faculty of Business, another one from the engineering for the prototyping, or the Faculty of Public Science. So, and the engineers are saying that we need business people for the business planning. So we're working a lot at this level, and I think that bridging the gap between research and the corporate world can be doable based on the activities of the center, and also it's a part of our mission as a Faculty of Economics and Business Administration, especially for the social entrepreneurship. So we were running that it is part of our mission statement, and this mission statement is aligned with the university's mission that also includes entrepreneurship. So basically, one of the speeches of the president, Professor George Nami, he said recently that we are aiming to go for a small incubator. We hope so. So that's for the vision part. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you for highlighting how entrepreneurship centers are really building this collaboration between faculties and different units in universities. So building on that, let's discuss more collaboration in practice. So not just as a buzzword, but how is it really going on the ground? What are we doing? How are we working together? What are the barriers? And where there's real opportunity to build synergies. I would like to start with Annie, from your experience. What has been the most effective model of collaboration between LAU's internal departments and with external stakeholders?
Well, as mentioned within our panel, it is very important to note the role of an innovation center from a university's point by leveraging the students' innovation, the faculty, the staff, and alumni, which is exactly what we do at the LAU Innovation Center. When it comes to collaborating between the different departments, is about leveraging their connections, their networking, the tools and the resources that they're combining while they come. And one of the key aspects within my model, if you want, at the LAU Innovation Center, is mentorship. So I like to harvest onto this gem that a lot of institutions would also replicate this model into their incubators, accelerators, and it's by not only keeping it internal, but rather having it cross-university, cross-departmental, and cross-institutions. These different skills that we bring or cascade from one entity to another would only enrich through best practices sharing, by providing the resources that sometimes it comes from an aha moment. It can come from the ability to tap into the problems that others would have seen it from a different perspective. Because many mentors would not only bring their subject matter expertise, if you want, but rather the resources that had been through, the experiences that they end up growing within, and the collaboration that they make. For example, we have received the support of Berytech and Lebanon Innovate, for example, when it comes to building the TTO, when expanding our collaboration and networking activities, while learning about the new methods out there. And this has been a two-way street. If it's a one-way street, eventually it'll dry out. The fact that we can support, and often it's very important to realize how an institution has a stronger, let's say, network or a different way. We can leverage this by collaborating, and it's a win-win situation on both. So this is something that is extremely crucial, for example, to collaborate between universities, like we do, for example, with AUB, with our mentors, with our trainers. We do it with other institutions as well. They get to learn from our best practices and the models. And often we see a lot of our startups, for example, starting an incubation here and then moving to another place to where they learn something different. And or we even ourselves direct them outside because we see that there is something you can learn there, but it's a bit too early for me to give it from my perspective.
All right, thank you, Annie. And specifically for highlighting mentorship, so I think we all agree that building on the experience of other persons, the challenges they went through, their successes, etc., is a very important type of support that we can bring to students, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, because we all know that it's not an easy journey. So thank you for that. Alain, back to you. Could you walk us through a couple of your strategic partnerships, knowing that Pulse is an emerging innovation hub? Are you working on strategic partnerships with other universities, entities, civil society, or other industry players?
Yes, so I can start with IUF. This is very strategic for us, and we're working a lot with the IUF on those programs that was mentioned by Nathalie. And basically, we signed also with the Université de Lorraine, France, an agreement because they have a huge hub for student entrepreneurs. They have more than 500 student entrepreneurs there. It's a large network, international network, and we're working weekly with students on one-on-one coaching with experts from the field because it's very important to go into the projects deeply. So that's very strategic for us. And also we're taking part of the social entrepreneurship in times of crisis. That's an Erasmus Plus project. We have a partnership with USG, Université Saint-Joseph, and Lebanese University, also LIU, and we have also the European partners, UNIMED, Uninetuno, and TUS, that's in Ireland. They are working a lot on developing social entrepreneurship. So definitely this is about, not just about curriculum development, about the MOOCs, it has to be a real implementation for social enterprises. And another also collaboration, we're taking part now with the Interreg network, which is also co-funded by European Commission, and that's basically for SMEs in tourism industry. So we will start it next month. Also, that's very strategic. And definitely we have many MOUs. I can mention Malia Group. We're working a lot with them. And I need to mention something very important. It's not just about competitions and jury members. It's about the real support from those companies. And it's not about having cash money, or it's about the technical support they can provide, their expertise. And it really matters for us, this type of support. And definitely we have many competitions. We're taking part of, we took part of the Nature Conservation Center at AUB, IBDA competition. And our students won also the first prize for the business planning and recovery, also with the IUF for the center of Beirut. Also, they had the first prize. So we're really proud of this part, but we believe that those partnerships, they need to go, move forward to another step, another strategic step into the real support. I can mention also the support of Indefco, Phoenix, the Beirut Digital District also, we are developing also. And it's all based on trust, because this is really very important to our students. I hope that I didn't forget anyone.
A lot is happening at Pulse, right? All right, thank you for sharing these examples. This shows really that collaboration isn't theoretical. It's really very much happening. Thank you for that. Nathalie, back to you. You mentioned that IF is the biggest network of universities in the region. Can you tell us more how IF is helping to build bridges between universities and industry?
Okay, so regarding the inter-university partnership, it's one of the core missions of AUF. As I mentioned, all major Lebanese universities are members of AUF, and we have always played a unifying role, leading projects that bring together all universities through collaboration. And in the field of entrepreneurship, in fact, we were the initiator of student entrepreneurship awareness as early as 2017. Through our project to develop student entrepreneurship, we brought together 16 universities, and at this time it's important to note that there were no university-based incubators, and the student entrepreneurship was not really included in the strategies of universities. So we worked hand in hand with universities and with the Ministry of Education and Higher Education, and we established the national status of student entrepreneur. And the status helps a student who wants to launch his startup but also continue his studies, to have facilities within his university to balance between his studies and his entrepreneurial journey through mentorship, through access to facilities in his universities, trainings, etc. So, and you can say that this AUF-initiated project has given its result. Now we see that there are many university-based incubators, so we are really glad and happy. And we have also led a project, a EU-funded project, Sfeir, that aimed at promoting social entrepreneurship in universities, and with the funds that we had from the EU, we helped Lebanese universities, Antonin University, and the USG to establish their incubators. And as for the link between industry and universities, we always say that we are here we are in fact the listening link between the two worlds, and we tend to bridge the gap and to complement what is missing, and that's what we do, for example, with our pre-incubation program that I mentioned earlier.
All right, thank you so much, Nathalie. So, picking up on the thread and on the examples that everybody shared, can you share with us successful examples of collaboration between TTO and research funding institutions, and what were the key, let's say, enablers and barriers in making this collaboration work?
Yeah, I really can think of one example related directly to the technology transfer unit within the Office of Research, so that not to repeat all the initiatives that colleagues have described. In terms of technology transfer unit, I remember one example is back in 2012, when we had funding from the EU under the Tempest program for a project that we launched that was entitled Ideal. And its aim was to really target universities within Lebanon and help them to set up the technology transfer offices. We've at the time selected 5 along with the Ministry of Education and LNCSR were also on board. But what I really remember out of this experience was from where we started. Technology transfer was confused at the time with, is it really information technology? What is technology transfer? So when I look now and see the initiative or the project led Lebanon Innovate and led by Berytech, it's really great to see the zeal, to see how universities, industries are connecting. The challenges at the time were exactly this. We needed to raise awareness on the importance of this, of intellectual property, and help in setting up offices within the context that we were operating in. Mainly also what stemmed out of the project at the time were actual best practices. We had partners from Spain, we had partners from Greece as well on the project, and what we did were producing manuals, for example, for best practices in technology transfer offices, operations, and really it sowed the seeds, if you can say, to really open pathways forward. So that's it. Yeah,
thank you for this example, Mai. So I think we all agree now that collaboration, again, is clearly happening, but we think that we can do better in working together, and we decided in our coordination meeting to end this panel in the third segment with, let's say, discussing a potential national strategy to really build on these efforts together, to work together better in a more maybe structured way, because some collaboration happen organically, others are more structured. So in this final segment, let's look ahead and ask, what national model should we aim for as universities, innovation hubs, network of universities, etc.? So what do you think needs enhancement? How do we align efforts for a greater collective impact, let's say? I would like to start with Nathalie from the bigger perspective, let's say the regional lens. Can you tell us what elements you think regional innovation models Lebanon could adapt or adopt, let's say, to strengthen our ecosystem nationally?
In my opinion, I think that the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Lebanon, and especially when it comes to student entrepreneurship, is a very vibrant ecosystem. We see all the key players working together, collaborating together. It's free from competition. All the universities collaborate together. And if you look at the landscape of higher education made up of private universities, we can tend to think that they will all be rivals, but we think that on the contrary, everyone collaborates together in order to offer students all the opportunities and help students. So, and the summit is this summit is a clear example of that. So maybe we have to stop thinking that what comes from elsewhere is automatically better. Maybe we have lessons to give and not to learn, because I think that really it's a very healthy ecosystem that you have. But maybe there are, of course, things that we should, we miss some things like, for example, fundings for startups. There are many competition, but not access to funding. The process of registering a startup is very lengthy and it's very costly, and obtaining a patent also. So maybe this can discourage innovation, but this is not, cannot do anything about it. It's not at our level. And maybe also we should encourage more applied research, help researchers, help them transfer their research into projects and viable projects.
Exactly, to commercialize the innovation that comes from academic research. Thank you, and it's great highlighting that we do have our own identity. Let's say, I think the ecosystem in Lebanon went through ups and downs, and we've learned a lot, and it's great to build our own identity, but maybe taking some examples from regional networks as well. Thank you. May, looking ahead and given the ongoing challenges again, do you think there is still room for TTOs to collaborate more, inter-university, to work more together for, let's say, a stronger impact when it comes to moving from research to business?
Definitely, we have the momentum now. Yeah. We cannot each university keep operating or in a silo. We have to break silos. We are ready with projects like Lebanon Innovate. Again, we're ready. I was telling colleagues, we are ready to have a national consortium for all of us universities work together, aiming at one language for technology transfer, helping ministries also at the national level, as there is now work to do, more to do on intellectual property rights, on laws to pass, on policies to really adopt and adapt within our institutions. But also let us not duplicate effort. We can have within the consortium and out of this consortium an academy for technology transfer managers and officers and really people interested in innovation as a whole, where we can conduct trainings, where we can really foster operations, because out of these trainings we'll be fostering operations inside our universities, and we are really ready for that. We are doing it already, but then let's put a framework for it. So I guess we're all ready. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you, May. So yeah, I think everyone agrees on that. So Annie, building on what May mentioned, like building a national consortium and working together in a more structured way, if this consortium, and we really hope it happens in the near future, what do you think university innovation centers can bring into this consortium, and what role they can play in really building this national innovation strategy, let's say?
Exactly, as mentioned, we need a national platform for innovation where we would all input our knowledge. We would also lobby for changes within the legal aspect, the frameworks, the policies, where we can work on unifying the different pain points that we are currently have to challenge and or face alone. Unfortunately, working on these frameworks alone or individually as university points will take a lot of time. That's why unifying these will accelerate our results, especially with the current use of tools that we have, the information structure and the frameworks that we have. Some of us have bits and pieces or pieces from the puzzle. However, once we come together, we will be able to put this all on the table, and each one of us will bring a different aspect, a different perspective as a solution. Legal needs to be worked on. There should be a lot of awareness about IP rights, about where it stops and where it ends. We have to also elevate the level of our intellectual property as management, as understanding, and internationally safeguard this true wealth of innovative and resilient-based startups and entrepreneurial efforts that are done, so that they will prefer to come to Lebanon, and us being the haven for information and technology rather than being this export of technology. We should put it back in our perspective, and it should be leveraged with connecting the academia with the industry, because one has the framework, the other has the application, and we should always come back and forth with our knowledge base in there. And last but not least, we should also make sure that we would foster innovation of the startups with the mindset of putting them in the market first. So being in the market first always gives them the leverage and the knowledge, and at the same time they will be able to feel it on their own skin, and that's where the accelerated innovation happens, from them, not from us doing all the time the research, because we have a specific model for researching. However, it's by the market dynamic and extremely fast shifts that we will be able to, that should be the input, not the other way around.
All right, so we should always look at the market, the needs of
Definitely.
the market to accelerate
That's the first.
innovation, yes? And instead of reinventing the wheel every time we come together, build frameworks based on the
Continue.
experience
Absolutely.
of each stakeholder. Thank you, Annie, for that. Alain, I would like to wrap up with you, and based on your experience at La Sagesse University and Pôle Center, what do you believe are the key success factors of, let's say, such a national innovation strategy?
So first, I just want to take this opportunity really to thank Berytech for being there with Pulse during the in-house competitions that we're organizing. I want to thank Mrs. Carla Seba and Mrs. Rama Abu Jawde for supporting these initiatives. Basically, what comes to my mind is very crucial that's been mentioned by Nathalie. That's the statut étudiant entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Personally, I think this is very strategic at the national level. I think we're just relying on personal initiatives by universities. I think that the government has to think about how to provide incentives for universities at this level. Let's be very practical. We're relying on, let's say, funds coming from
Abroad.
international entities. That's very good. And the same problem remains at the research part. So I don't think we need to start thinking differently at the national level. When it comes, let's say, for example, for AI integration. So we were been waiting a long time. Now we have the Wizard al-Mhajjarin and the Dhaka al-Istinai. So it's not a priority yet.
Yeah.
So basically, AI with our students and the IT people and entrepreneurship, they are doing a great job, and we're not seeing this at the national level. I think this is a huge gap. And the beginning, the point of start, it needs to be from this status, le statut étudiant entrepreneur. This is really very important.
So including governmental institutions and having the government as a key stakeholder in this strategy is, I think, again, we all agree, one of the key success factors to back the private sector initiatives when it comes to innovation and entrepreneurship. So thank you all for such a rich discussion. We've heard how innovation is being driven from within universities, how collaboration is already yielding impactful models, and how a more integrated national strategy is on the table for discussion. The key takeaway, I would say that Lebanese universities are no longer silos of knowledge. They are living ecosystems, and if aligned under a common vision, we can catalyze transformation across industry and different sectors. To wrap up, I would like to invite everyone to keep this conversation going and hopefully turn it into action. Thank you to our panelists, to the audience, and thank you for being here with us today. Enjoy the rest of your day.